Hey guys, this is Sundown here, and this is going to be my chapter review to Nanatsu no Taizai, chapter 214, I Can't Reach Who You Were Anymore. Now this chapter was a dirty chapter. I had my reservations going into the chapter because I thought the interaction between King, who's in Gloxinia's body, and Ro was going to be the same old thing. You know, King, he's always jumping to conclusions, he's always kind of led by his emotions, and he's not a character I've liked so far in this manga. He's always kind of he's the most babyish and least mature in terms of his responses to certain situations. He never stops to think, even though the situation he's in as Gloxinia wouldn't really require much thinking. Even you or I would instantly try and kill the guy that mutilated his sister. He still didn't really think about his options. So what was the first thing that happened? The first awesome thing that happened was King didn't kill Ro. King, oh my, it was a really good kind of growth, a really well thought out opportunity for King to grow in this situation, because he doesn't kill Ro. What happens is he throws his spear, he throws Gloxinia's friggin', I think it's, what's it called? I don't know, his spirit spear right at Ro, and Ro's already accepted his death. He's dropped Gerhard and he's like, see you later, I'm off, I'm about to die. So what's his name, King is still in his anger, he's still absolutely consumed by rage, throws his spear, but at the last second he remembers his situation with Ban, and how he blamed Ban for Elaine's death, and how he had all this rage and anger towards him, but really it was all kind of his fault. And then he remembers later on, he's talking to Gloxinia about it, how the relationship between Elaine and Ban kind of resembles the relationship between Gerhard and Ro, and because of that, because of their love for each other, and because of the fact that Ro and Ban have never really been completely evil. Ban's never really been evil, but Ro especially, even when he betrayed the humans and betrayed Stigma, he wasn't evil. He just did it he did it for revenge. He wasn't an evil person. Just vengeance doesn't make you evil. So he said he couldn't kill Ro because of that reason, because of his love for Gerhard, and because of the resemblance he had to Ban, and the resemblance their relationship had to Ban and Elaine's relationship. But then, even though King doesn't kill friggin' Ro stays alive. Ro's upper body in the next panel just goes missing, and there's blood coming out of his upper body, well, his lower body, but his torso just freaking goes missing. It's been completely cut off. His arms are like, one of his arms is still in the air, but it's not got a body attached to it. His other arms fall into the floor. I was like, shit, what the hell, what? So then what we actually find out is, because what's his name, King, I keep forgetting his name, King turns around and he's like, what the freak just happened? And you see the original apparition, the original persona of Gloxinia and what he did, and he actually did kill Ro. When it happened to Gloxinia in his time, he did kill Ro, and you see Gloxinia's face and his reaction, and he's at the peak of anger. You cannot get more angry than Gloxinia was in that panel. Such a well drawn panel. He was pissed off to the max, and we actually get, when King wakes up in his own body and he's talking to Glox about it, Glox says, yeah, I lost control and I killed Ro. I didn't think about it. I didn't even give him a moment to explain. But even that wasn't enough. That didn't quell his anger. That didn't quench his thirst for blood. So he turned his anger towards Stigma, and he turned his anger towards Stigma for a couple of reasons, and they're decent reasons when you think about it. He turned his anger towards Stigma because of their lack of support for the humans and their inability to really help the humans. Well, it wasn't really an inability, it's just their lack of resolve to help the humans. They didn't really do anything about it, about helping humans in terms of whether they when they were being attacked, or for instance in Ro's case, just attacking their villages in an attempt to get one demon. So he turned his anger towards Stigma for that, for their lack of relations with humans, let's call it, and he turned his anger towards them for their inability to protect his sister, which was really his own inability, but in his anger he couldn't see that. So before long, he says, he just kind of became a commandment. It just kind of went hand in hand, and he became a commandment. He was given one by the Demon King. So then all we really get is Gloxinia tells King, yeah, you've passed, good job. So Gloxinia actually clears up a point here, which was a minor point of debate within the fandom, which was whether King and Diane actually went back in time, or whether whether it was all just an illusion, where they were given the idea, or it was just kind of like a reel playing through their heads of them being back in time. So it turns out they actually did go back in time, and they could have died. If they had died, they could have just failed the test, having not done anything. They could have done exactly what if King had done what exactly what Gloxinia had done, i.e. he killed Ro. There's a very high chance he would have just become a commandment, and everything would have just gone exactly the same way it did for Gloxinia. So King, in other words, would have become Gloxinia in another time. So what happened for King was, because he interfered with time and because he changed the course of history, time kind of understood, like, shit, this guy's changing history, we gotta spit him out. So it spat him back out into his actual time, and then that time continues on as it should have done, with Gloxinia becoming a commandment and everything. So that was actually an explanation which was kind of needed. People were kind of debating it. So they did go back in time, but any alterations they made, if they passed the test, basically, any alterations they make in time which could change the future, they're spat back out. So then we get King kind of clutching his back, saying he's in pain. He's in pain around his back, which means he's going to get his wings. And I'm hoping his wings are as dope as Gloxinia's, because Gloxinia's wings look freaking awesome. So I'm hoping King actually gets wings like that, or something similar to that, because it's been mentioned by a few people now. Even Meliodas has stated that King is kind of weird in terms of a fairy king, because he doesn't have wings. So then we cut to Diane, and she's talking to, well, Diane in Dolo's body, so we're back in the past again. And she's talking to Galtha in his wheelchair. We gotta make this distinction again. Galtha the demon, not Galtha the doll. And then the demon Galtha's like, shit, I feel a strong power surge, basically. And we see inside the Light of Grace, which is Stigma's headquarters, we see this shadow emerging from the doorway that what's her name, Meristilla, made into the demon realm. And guess who pops out? As soon as I saw the silhouette, I thought, shit. But Zeldaris comes hunting Galtha, and this is going to be Diane's test. This is what Dolo's test was. So the Light of Grace explodes in a cloud of black flame, and Zeldaris just flies out, lands right in front of in front of Galtha, and he looks quite pissed off. But then again, he's not exactly ever shown happy. But and there's a point a lot of people were making in the manga stream comments, which was, Meliodas once said to Dolo, when he was fighting him, I think just before Meliodas died, he said, "You were once a warrior who strived to become the greatest of them all, to become the best of them all in terms of power. But that pride was stomped to pieces and trampled underfoot." I.e., that's what happened before you became a commandment. So that's all kind of leading to maybe Zeldaris kicks the shit out of Dolo around here, and that's what I think happens. Dolo's about to get a major ass whooping. So now it depends on how Diane takes that ass whooping. It sounds like Dolo was absolutely destroyed, and in his pride wouldn't allow him to just take that, so he gave up and became a commandment instead. Instead of dying, he converted to the dark side essentially, and became a commandment in order to preserve his power, in order to gain higher power. So in order to kind of fight back against Zeldaris, I don't know, maybe he has some vengeance or something he wants to take out. So yeah, so Diane's mission really will be to, if she's gonna get her ass whooped by by Zeldaris, but she's just gotta not become a commandment by the end of it. She's gotta accept death, is what I think she'll need to do in order to pass her test. Now, a kind of nice nuance in this chapter was, we got another title for Zeldaris, because you got to remember, he's not a commandment at this point. There's another guy, his name's Camel something, yeah, you'll know who I'm talking about. But that's the commandment for Zeldaris' commandment in the current time. Zeldaris doesn't have a commandment at that time in the timeline where Dolo and Gloxinia were not commandments. So the title he's given here by Galtha is the Executioner. So he was probably, as the title states, an executioner, and that's why he's come out to hunt down the prisoner, Galtha, who was imprisoned for life, I think it was. And I think this is how Galtha's going to die. But Garthur's not gonna die before he ends the war. So how will that go down? Let me know what you guys think. I thought this chapter was great. I really enjoyed it. I'd give it a solid 8. The amount of stuff that went on when Ro died, I was like, whoa, damn! I didn't expect that, because I thought King would just straight up kill him in his anger, and I was waiting for that. But then when he didn't die, I was like, oh, that's great. And then when he died, I was like, what? What? How did that happen again? So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I'd give it a solid 8. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit.